Now there's about as many substrates to paint on as there are artists painting on those substrates. And what we paint on can have a dramatic effect on our finished work. In this video, I'm going to share with you not only how, but why I prepare linen painting panels. Hi, my name is James Owens, and on this channel, I share with you techniques, tips, hacks, and history to help you become a better artist. Now, over the years, I've worked on just about every traditional surface that there is available. In the last few years, I've started painting on primed wood panels. But now I did find that I missed the texture of canvas, particularly linen canvas, which has an uneven weave compared to most cotton canvases. I also liked the color of the linen canvas. So let's jump right in and I'll show you my process for making a wood-mounted linen canvas painting panel. Now my first step is to cut my panels to the size that I want. And I usually do a number of these at the same time, just it speeds up the process. I like to use hardboard, or by its trade name it's known as Masonite. It's a perfect mounting surface. It's strong, it's lightweight, it lasts for years. These should outlast you and I. Once I've cut them to size, I like to sand the front and the back lightly. I'm using about a 220 grit here. I'm just trying to give it some tooth and to open up the pores so that the glue and the sealer that I use will penetrate well. Now, if you're not familiar, linen is a woven fabric made from the flax plant. It's thought to be one of the earliest crops grown by man. Linen canvas is a traditional ground and it's been used by painters for hundreds of years. It's actually stronger than cotton canvas because of the fibers in the flax plant. I sand both sides to give it tooth, like I said, and to open it up to receive the sealer that I use. Now, once I'm done with that, I just wipe it down with a damp cloth to get off any dust or schmutz that's gotten on there while I've been sanding. Now for the second step, you're going to want to wear the rubber gloves because we're pulling out the big guns here, the stinky shellac. Now it does stink a little bit, but it goes away pretty quick. You want to use it in a ventilated area or turn your ceiling fan on. But I just use a folded up piece of t-shirt as make myself a bit of an applicator because I don't like to use a brush on the shellac. I feel like the t-shirt makes it get into the pores of the wood a little better. And I just dip it right in the can and kind of massage it in as I go. And this seals it from getting any moisture on the backside. You don't want moisture to get into your wood and start to warp your piece after a few years, or if it ends up in an area of the world or the country that has high humidity. So the front will be sealed with the glue that I'm going to use to fasten down the linen, and the back, like I said, I like to seal it with shellac. It's cheap, it can be found at any hardware store, and a little bit goes a long way. Just a really great product. Always should have this at hand in your studio. And for all these products that I'm using in this video, I'll leave a link down below in the show notes, just in case you can't find them locally. I'm sure Amazon will have them, so I'll try to find Amazon links and link these for you down below. Now for step 3, I'm going to start cutting my linen to size. Now you can buy this in rolls or you can buy it in folded sheets. This, I think, when I bought it was a big 20-foot long folded sheet of beautiful linen made in Europe, grown and made in Europe. Just really a beautiful product. It's cheaper to buy it this way than to buy it in small pieces. The bigger the piece you can buy, the cheaper it gets per yard. So what I'm doing here is I'm laying it out on my work table so that I can trim it to fit each piece that I've prepped with the shellac. And you want to cut it a little bit oversized because it will shrink up on you. I learned that the hard way on the first couple that I made. I cut them almost too small. They shrank up right to the edge, but I was still able to get my panels out of it. Now, I decided to start working on this linen because, one, I like the texture, but I really like the color of this raw linen. I discovered it by looking at the paintings of Vladimir Tretyakov, very famous for the Chinese girl, sometimes referred to as the Green Girl. But in his pieces, he allowed the linen canvas to be a part of the art, and he painted essentially what you might call a vignette on the linen panel, allowing it to show through. And I really, really liked that look, so I wanted to incorporate that into my work. And to do that, I had to track down the linen canvases and figure the best way for me to use it, rather than stretching it on stretcher bars, which I'm not a huge fan of stretching canvases. It's just a personal preference. You may love it. Me, it drives me crazy. This may seem like more work, but that's the way it goes. Okay, for part 4, we're going to start using the glue, and I like to use this Lineco brand neutral pH adhesive. This is designed for bookbinders, but it's perfect for our needs of gluing this canvas down. Now I like to cut it, and I give it about a 2-to-1 cut, 2 parts glue to 1 part water. And the first coat I like to do is kind of a primer coat. And having this cut allows it to soak into the fibers on this Masonite that I sanded up. So like I said, this is a primer coat, and I'm going to let this dry because this is going to help the other coats of glue adhere. So once that's glued, I start laying out my canvas on top of the panel, and I like to get it up off the work surface, because if this were lying flat on the work surface and we saturate this canvas like we're going to saturate over the edge, and if it were on the work surface flat, it would simply adhere to the work surface. So I get it up off the work surface and begin to saturate it. You can see I've painted it on the Masonite, I've painted it on the top of the linen, and then I also folded it back on itself and saturated the bottom side of the linen. You just want this linen as completely saturated as you can possibly get it. And like I said, you want to go over the edge of the linen also, because this linen will shrink. And I had one almost shrink past the edge, but it stopped right before the edge, so I was able to save it. You don't have to worry about any of the creases that you see or any of the lines or wrinkles that you see, but you do want to make sure that your warp and your weft lines are square, that the weave is square with your Masonite panel. And you can see that's what I'm doing here, is making sure everything is squared up. You don't want to end up with a finished panel where you have your weave lines on basically a 30-degree angle. You could paint on it just fine, but to the viewer's eye, it would look weird. So be sure to thoroughly saturate it, and then I like to go over it with a piece of plastic that I have. You could use a credit card or whatever's handy, and squeegee out all of the air bubbles that may form while you're folding it back on itself and whatnot. And then I like to hit it with the brush a few more times just to make sure that there are no brush lines showing and everything's thoroughly covered. Hey guys, if you're getting value out of this video and you want to help me grow the channel, please be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and hit that bell so you won't miss any of my upcoming videos. Okay, for step 5, we've let this thoroughly dry overnight. Now, when this is wet, you're going to think you've messed up, because the Masonite is going to start to curl and it's going to get a big hump in it on your table. Don't freak out. As it dries, it will straighten itself completely out nice and flat, and it'll be just beautiful. But you can see here I've flipped it over, and I'm using a nice sharp brand new X-Acto knife to trim off the excess linen, and I'm leaning the knife away from the Masonite so that I get a nice tight edge where I'm trimming it from the Masonite. Now for step 6, we're going to examine the panels for any mistakes or flaws or places it didn't adhere. And you can see here I had an edge or two that didn't completely adhere. So you can just take some of the glue. I use it straight out of the jar, not thinned down. Take a little brush, kind of push it underneath the edge there, and then just work it back and forth with your thumb a few times. It won't take long, maybe a couple of minutes of rubbing it down this way, and it'll be completely flat and you'll never know there was a problem. Now something else you want to look for on linen canvas is the fact that it's a natural product. So it's going to have some natural flaws and some larger fibers like those nubbies. Now the solution to that is, because it's saturated with that beautiful glue, you can just sand these nubbies right down to be as smooth and as flat as the rest of the canvas. Okay, for the final step, we're going to apply a clear gesso. Now, like I said, I love the look, I love the weave, I love the color of this natural linen, and I like to let that show through on my final piece, so I have to use a clear gesso rather than a white gesso or a black gesso. I simply just squirt it on and apply it with a chip brush. Now you can apply multiple coats depending on your personal preference as to how smooth you want this. You can even sand between coats to get it super smooth, or apply it with a putty knife to get it really smooth. So it's all your preference. I personally like a little bit of tooth, and I like that texture. Even some of those nubbies showing through, I like some of that stuff, and I want that stuff to be retained on my final piece. So I only go about one coat of this this gesso. Now something else I may do, but I don't do it all the time, is once I've done my drawing on this, I may seal that drawing with some matte medium. That's a wonderful surface to paint on, but I don't find matte medium to be that great to draw on. So I use the gesso, do my original drawing, then before I paint it, I can seal that drawing with the matte medium. So here's the final product. As you can see, we ended up with a really beautiful surface to paint on, and it's pretty simple, although it takes a little bit of time. Now, I know it takes a lot longer to do things this way than to just run down to the art supply store and pick up a ready-made canvas, but as you grow as an artist, you may find that there are certain things that you want for your work that aren't readily available. So we have to make our own. But quite frankly, that's part of the joy and the fun of being a creative person. Hey, I want to thank you for watching this video, and I truly do hope that you learned something and picked up some good techniques from this. And so until next time, go make something cool. Owen's out.